Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka, excuse me, man of the people, as you have a friend of the media, which is me, here to go over the 53-man roster cut down. So this video is going to be one of the more simple videos in which I'm just going to go over the roster, who was waived, what kind of waive they were waived, and then also talk about the players who have made the team. So if anybody has any questions, we'll take a few, but we're going to do plenty more videos to get you through it all. And so I am from the home studio tonight. My little one doesn't want to go to sleep, so if he comes over here, hey, extra entertainment for you guys, all right? And what's up, buddy? So let me go ahead and give a few shout outs. Ali Broderick, what's up? Welcome back, Chris. Do you think we will keep 3 quarterbacks? All right, so I'll go through that. We may, but I got to go over the list of who's made it and who has not made it first. And then what's up, Wallace, the drummer? So yes, it's officially time to say we have, well, I can't say officially because there will certainly be some changes, because today was the day that the team had to get down to, sorry, stop, buddy. Today, you can get back in the bed. What's up, Brother Michael? Today was the day that the team had to get down to their 53-man roster. Tomorrow is when they add back 16 players, I believe. I strongly believe in that number. 16 players in which they have to add back by tomorrow. So lots of things will change. And then, so that's Wednesday that they had to make the 16-player addition. But then, of course, Thursday and Friday, you can still have some transactions. But by the end of the week, this roster will be settled for what it is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this stuff one by one. All right, we're going to get you up to date. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the waived injured players. And we're going to talk about what this means first. This is when the team is releasing a player who has been injured. And so this player must clear waivers. And if they are picked up by another team, that means that team takes up their contract. If they don't, then they come back to the Panthers, and the Panthers continue to work out things with them, whether they're going to release them with an injury settlement or whether they're going to keep them on some kind of status that keeps them with the team. So with this video, I really want to just go over the list and again, make sure you all know what each thing means so you can continue to understand football. What's up, Nicole S? Thank you for being a member and coming and signing on this evening. All right, so the waived injured players are just 2 that we have that are waived injured. That'll be defensive tackle Junior Aho and offensive tackle Tyler Smith. Those are your first 2 transactions that we're going to go through. All right, now you see we have a much bigger list, and this is just the players who were just flat out waived, all right? And hey, as we go through this list, any comments that you guys want to have, please leave them. We go live for the purpose of being interactive, so that's why we're live. Let me know your comments. And if you're watching the video, please get in that habit of just hitting that like button. I really would appreciate it. Let's go through it all. Defensive tackle, man, I can't say this guy's name. Olomo Ale. Man, I hope I didn't butcher that. Guard, Jack Anderson. Linebacker, Aaron Beasley. Cornerback, DiCaprio Bootle. Guard, Mason Brooks. Safety, Alex Cook. Offensive tackle, Jeremiah Crawford. Cornerback, Willie Drew. Outside linebacker, Kenny Dyson. Tight end, Felipe Franks. Offensive tackle, Ricky Lee. Wide receiver, Terrace Marshall Jr. Outside linebacker, Derek McLendon. Cornerback, Keandre Mosley. Defensive tackle, Walter Palmore. Wide receiver, Sam Pickney. Quarterback, Jake Plummer. Running back, Jaden Sheridan. Defensive tackle, TJ Smith. Wide receiver, Mike Strawn. Outside linebacker, Luigi Villan. Hopefully I'm getting these guys' names correct. Cornerback, Chris Wilcox. linebacker Chandler Wooten. So I, as always, would love to hear who you feel surprised about that's on that list. Let me know. It's a long list, and it's a list that the team knew was coming. They knew they'd have to make cutdowns. Coach Canales talked the other day in Buffalo about how that last meal, if you will, before the night before the game, it's like, things are coming to an end. And for him, that's a chance to get ready to say goodbye to guys and kind of thank them for being here. But he said that he was going to personally talk to each guy that was released. It's just something that he wants to do as a coach. Haven't had a chance to ask him if he was able to do so, but he said that was his goal. And he knew that some tough decisions would be ahead. And he said, that's good. Tough decisions, that means my guys are competing. And I want a team that's competing. So I'll put this list up here one more time in case anyone wants to share what they think of what was for you your biggest surprise on the list. All right, we'll continue to move through. These are released vested veterans. So vested veterans being these guys do not have to clear waivers. They can go directly to another team without having to go through that process because they have the benefits of being a veteran. So that list would be guard Ike Boettger, running back Mike Boone, safety Rudy Ford, tight end Jacob Hollister, tight end Jesper Horsted, and then tight end Jordan Matthews. So I appreciate Nicole here indicated her surprise was Terrace Marshall Jr. And I didn't say mine on that previous screen. So mine on that previous screen, I really felt like Terrace Marshall Jr. was having a good enough camp to make it. He didn't make it. Excuse me. We'll see if he could potentially come back as a practice squad guy. But before I go into what may happen, I'm going to show you who's still on the roster in those positions so that you can have a clear idea of where we stand. But currently, no Terrace Marshall. And on this previous screen here, I'm going to let you know my surprise. Let's see if I can get it right. I can't say definitely this was a surprise, but just sometimes with the media, you get to hear a guy's story. And I didn't know much about Jordan Matthews, and I got a chance to hear his story about making a transition from wide receiver to tight end and his outlook on life. So just one of those things that makes you like a person versus a player. And so it's kind of like, oh, man, darn, he didn't make it on the team. Certainly could come back on the practice squad. But Jordan Matthews is one on this screen that, I can't say shocked, but just a little sad about. All right, let's continue to work through this list. And again, I will be breaking down what this stuff means so everybody can increase their football IQ. You got reserve, physically unable to perform. Reserved, physically unable to perform. So we got two people on this list. Give me just a second here. My little guy's moving again. All right. So we got two guys that are on this list. We got outside linebacker Amare Barno, and then we got outside linebacker DJ Wanham. So these are designations for players who are injured and unable to participate in practice at the start of the season due to injuries that occur before the season begins. And so basically what this means is that these players do not count against the 53-man roster. And they must miss at least the first 4 games of the season. Must miss at least the first 4 games of the season. That's what this means. So that's outside linebacker Amari Barno and outside linebacker DJ Wanham. All right. Shockwave said, was not shocked about Marshall. Why were you not shocked about Marshall? You can be not shocked. That's fine. I'm just curious to hear from Shockwave why you were not surprised about it. Thanks so much for, coming on the show and being interacting with us. So let's continue to work through this list. All right, so we got reserved non-football injury. And we'll talk about what this means. So basically, this player was hurt before the season, not related to football activity, meaning he was hurt at Texas. Jonathan Brooks, our second-round pick. And he does not count against the 53-man roster. And he can be activated later on in the season, but must miss 6 games. Must miss 6 games. All right, let's continue to work through this list. Injured reserve designated to return. Injured reserve designated to return. So they do not count. None of these guys count against the 53-man roster. So not count against the 53-man roster. And they must miss a minimum of 4 games before they can be eligible to return to practice. It's a few steps. Then once they're eligible to return to practice, the team has 21 days to decide whether or not to activate them or to put them on the IR list for the rest of the season. So Dane Jackson, cornerback, and safety Sam Franklin. So typically, guys on this list, they don't get activated and then immediately play. Typically, they're more like 14 to 21 days. So that would still mean these guys that I just showed you probably will miss about 6 weeks. Now, I mean, they could be shorter, but I would say probably 6 weeks for those guys. All right, so let's continue to work through the list. Injured reserve. These players were hurt during practice, if you will, and they are removed from the 53-man roster. And they may return during the season. Rules changed a little bit on this one, but they still must miss a minimum of 4 games. So you have linebacker Tay Davis and outside linebacker Cam Gill. Again, linebacker Tay Davis and outside linebacker Cam Gill. So that covers all the transactions for today. And I see some questions coming through, so I will try to touch on those before we get out of here. But again, this video was mostly just to go over the list, tell you what each thing meant, get you up to date, and then we're going to do some more videos tomorrow and the rest of the week, continuing to talk in depth about the roster for who it is and what it is. I don't mind doing some speculation, but early on in the process when this first starts, there's so much speculation to go through, and I really like to focus on not confusing you all with all this information, all these terms, and just wait till things are a little bit more settled before I go into deep analysis on some things. So let's now take a look at the roster for what it stands, as it stands, all right? Here's your roster for as it stands. We have 2, 4, 6, 7 wide receivers. Deontay Johnson, David Moore, Adam Thielen, Amir Smith-Marset, Jonathan Mingo, Xavier Legette, and Jalen Coker. Some of those are a surprise, but, congratulations to all these gentlemen that made the roster. Yes, Cyrus. See, I told you guys, at some point you may hear or see my son as he's refusing to go to sleep. His name is Cyrus. He's 3 years old, almost 3, and I'm going to get him to bed here shortly. But there's your offense and the depth chart for what it is as it stands now. Chuba Hubbard, your running back, no surprise here. Adam Thielen, tight ends are Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas, and Jatavian Sanders. And the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Someone said good for Coker. Yeah, Coker's a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't foresee Coker making it, obviously because I thought Marshall would. And I didn't foresee 7 wide receivers. But again, things are going to be fluid, and we'll continue to bring guys up to date. Let's go to that defensive side. I want to give a little hat tip, a little round of applause, if you will. And this is because I got a chance to sit down with this young man and talk to him. So if you haven't seen it, I do a lot of one-on-one videos with these players, give you a chance to know them a little bit more as a person, but also talk about some X's and O's. Damani Richardson, undrafted free agent, made the team just like Coker. I didn't talk to Coker, but Damani Richardson made it. Check out that video. Congratulations to him for making the team. Let's go ahead and show this full list, though. Derek Brown, Shy Tuttle, Ashawn Robinson, Jadeveon Clowney, Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, DJ Johnson, J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Xavier Woods, Jordan Fuller, and your nickel is Troy Hill. That will be your starting defensive lineup. And you can see the rest of those backups there, second and third teamers. Again, probably going to change, but for now, that's what we got. Shockwave got a question. Is Carolina still first on the waiver wire? The Carolina Panthers have the privilege of being first on the waiver wire through the first 4 weeks. No matter if they go 0-4, obviously they stay in first position, or if they go 4-0, they will still have the first waiver wire position through the first 4 weeks. Appreciate the question, Shockwave. All right, last but not least, let's go over these special teams. Raheem Blackshear, Amir Smith Marset. So Raheem's your kickoff returner. Amir is your punt returner. No surprise with the rest. J.J. Jansen, your long snapper. Johnny Hecker, your punter. Eddie Pinheiro, who was injured up in Buffalo, is your kicker. Coach said he's not worried. No, he's not bringing a guy on practice squad. It's too valuable of a position. Eddie Pinheiro will be fine. He will be your kicker 2 weeks as the Carolina Panthers will travel to New Orleans for that season opener. I will be there. I'm planning lots of big things. I won't talk about them yet because, haven't dotted the I's and crossed the T's on them, but we will be live 2 hours before game time in New Orleans on the field to get you up to date for that matchup. But this week, we'll continue to bring you news and updates about the latest transactions for this Carolina Panthers team. So appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching. Appreciate all the likes. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe.